So let's have a look at what tenXcel Toolkit can really do to take your business to the next level. Now, the first thing we look at is we look at a budget. Now, most people would think of doing an annual budget for their business, and it's something like this. You know, you've got your estimated sales, and off the sales come your cost of sales. Underneath your cost of sales there, you've got your gross profit. How much money you make after you've paid for the materials you're selling. Now, off the gross profit comes your expenses. So you've got your expenses there. And you've got a variety of expenses that come off that gross profit to give you your net profit. Now, what a lot of businesses do and what a lot of business books teach is creating an annual budget for your business. So you look at the whole 12 months. Now, let's think of the whole 12 months like a big cake. So here's the 12 months in the business, and we're going to divide up that 12 months into, we're going to divide up that cake into 12 equal parts, which are going to be our 12 months. Now, when you do this inside tenXcel, you actually have the annual budget that gives you the big picture, the whole cake. But when you're running a business, it's no good just having the big picture. What you really need to know is what's going on a month-by-month basis, and even more importantly, what's going on a day-by-day basis. So the next thing after you've created your annual budget is we do something, which is we create a daily operations system. And a daily operations system is like taking one piece of this cake out of there, one slice. Now, daily operations system, that one slice is 1 month. Now, you could eat that whole piece of cake in one go, but you'd have a lot of indigestion, wouldn't you? So the point of a daily operations system is to break it down into small bite-sized chunks. So basically, the daily operations system cuts up that piece of cake into 31 pieces that are each day that you're working in the month. Now, the secret to this is each of those pieces, you're able to identify the ingredients. Like if you had the whole cake and you looked at it, you wouldn't know what really went into making that mix. But when you've got it down here as 1 month, you can kind of look at what's in the cake. But when you break it down into little bite-sized chunks day by day, you have the exact ingredients that go into making a successful business. So the daily operations system basically allows you to enter one number each day, which is your sales, and at the end of that day, you're able to see exactly how much cost you've got in each of these days as you're progressing. Now, why is that important? Because as you're progressing through the month, if you're not making enough sales, you need to modify things. You need to modify some of your labor costs. You need to control some of your expenditure so that you still end up making a profit. So the daily operations system basically breaks down your annual budget into a monthly chart. It's a little table. And then as you fill in your sales each day, you're seeing both your cost of sales on a daily basis, so how much materials and things you're using. You also see your expenses on a daily basis, and then you see your daily profit and you see your monthly profit. So by about the 20th of the month, you can get a pretty good idea about exactly how much profit you're going to make each month and whether you've got to curb spending in those last weeks or last few days of the month to get over the line. Anyway, after you've done your annual budget and you've done your daily operations, the next thing is to take control of one of the things that reduces stress. So how are we going to reduce stress? Reducing stress, that is what I need to talk to you about. Reduce stress. Very important in business. Now, what do I mean by reduce stress? Well, I really mean reduce financial stress. Because when you're working in business, you've always got this pressure on you to meet your commitments, to pay your bills. And basically, the money sort of goes like this. If we draw a little diagram here, your money's coming in and it's coming up and it's going out and it's coming up and it's going out and it's coming up. And it's a wave like that, isn't it? you don't always have money coming in and it then going out at the end. It's usually going out pretty much assets coming in, and sometimes it might be a sharper ride than that. Now, if this line here is 0, when do you think you've got the most stress happening? It's not usually when it's going up this curve, is it? When money's coming in, you're feeling good. The time you're feeling stressed is when it's going this way. So when it's going this way, it's one thing to be actually stressed about the fact that it is heading towards 0, but it's another thing not knowing if instead of it going down and coming back up again, what would happen if it went down here below 0 before it came up, right there. When you're rapidly approaching this line of 0, your stress levels are elevated and your family life and your life suffers. We don't want to be below 0. But how do you control that? Well, the next part of the tenXcel system works precisely on that, because what we'd like to do is see how we can smooth out that line. Now, I don't mean that you're going to have times when money's not going out. You are always going to have times when money's going out, and you're always going to have times when money's coming in. But let's think about this as a piece of elastic that you can stretch. If you could stretch that out a little bit, the lows would be less low and therefore less stressful, and the highs, they mightn't be so high, but you might even out the process so that you don't have as much stress. Well, with the next part of the tenXcel system, we deal with exactly that problem, which is cash flow. Because when you can control your cash flow, you can reduce your stress. So the tenXcel toolkit has a cash forecasting component to it. And what it does, it allows you to look into a crystal ball and see where you're going to be in 2 weeks, 3 weeks, even further out than that. But I like to work on 2 weeks, because if I know everything's all right for the next 2 weeks and probably for the next month, I'm going to feel a lot better about myself and I'm not going to stress too much. So what we do is we build out a cash flow going forward from your business, and that becomes a predictive tool. And it's not like your accounting program. An accounting program always looks historically at what's going on. And a lot of people use bookkeepers, so they're putting stuff into their books at a later stage, so you don't even get real-time analysis out of your books. Now, some accounting programs are starting to get a handle on predicting cash flow for you, but the cash flow system inside tenXcel is dead simple to use. I developed it for me, and I was just a trade qualified picture framer. So if I could make it work, I'm sure whatever level you're at, you'll be able to make it work. And it just reduces your stress. So I can show you more of that a bit later on. Now, the next thing about it is, as you're buying things within the business, you're also having to, let's say you're spending money in the month. And the next component that we use in the tenXcel system is a method to actually see not just how much you're spending, because you know what you're spending, but what it shows you is how much you've got left to spend. And this is the problem with most accounting programs, is that you're entering invoices or bills into the system, and you're entering sales into the system after they've happened. And so then by the time you get to the end of the month, or when it gets near the end of the month, you kind of go, oh, I haven't got any money to pay for that, or I spent too much. What did I buy there? You know, I shouldn't have bought that. Or other times you might actually be quite busy and you needed to spend the money to actually get the work done, but you didn't realize. And so that drastically affected your cash flow. Well, if we think of this like a box of chocolates, for example, now I'm talking about cakes before, but this might be like a box of chocolates. And in this box, what you've got is you've got a certain number of chocolates that you can eat every day, or a certain amount of money that you might be able to spend with your suppliers. So you might have supplier A, you might have supplier B, you might have supplier C, and supplier D. And in the month, all of those suppliers, you might say, I'm going to spend $10,000. down the bottom here, what we do is we say, okay, with supplier A, we're able to spend 6,000. With supplier B, we're able to spend 2,000. Sorry for my funny writing there. We're able to spend 1,000 with supplier D. We're going to spend 500 with supplier D there. And this last one, which is E, can be others. So we might have a spare $500 to spend with other people. Now what happens when you do things like this in your accounting program, you're entering the bill and you're not really seeing, sure, you're seeing the debt grow that you're going to have to pay if you're running an account system where you're paying a supplier in 30 days or 60 days or even 7 days, you're generating a debt. Well, when you do things this way, what happens is when you spend something with supplier A and you get the bill, before you give it to your bookkeeper or before you put it into your accounting program, you just enter the amount in here. So let's say we spent $1,000. $1,000 with supplier A there. Now when we spend this $1,000 with supplier A, down the bottom here, it deducts it off the $6,000 that we had to spend, and down the end here, we end up with a figure saying we got $9,000 left to spend in the month. So every day as you spend an amount and you enter it in this box and you work your way down, these amounts are adding up, they're deducting off here, and it's saying, okay, you got 7,500 left. Now this is a really handy tool because you haven't got to go into your accounting program and try and work out what the total of all the suppliers is. This shows you what you've got left to spend each month. You set it up once at the beginning. It takes about, I don't know, 5 minutes at most. And once you've done this in the tenXcel system, you can then clone it and copy it for the next month and just vary the figures for the suppliers depending on what your business is doing. So it's a really simple, this is a simple purchasing system. And when you get your purchasing under control, you will also revolutionize your business. Now, something I hadn't talked about as part of this, but all of these things work on the 3 profit drivers for your business. And I like to think of those as 3 levers that you can pull and control. And the first one is revenue. And that's what most people focus on. Because if you increase the number of traffic or customers to your store, that can increase your revenue. But a lot of people don't realize when you increase revenue, you're actually sharing that with your suppliers. So necessarily more revenue doesn't necessarily mean more profit, although in some cases it does, but it's only one of the profit levers. Now, some of the other levers that you can use are the costs lever or the cost of sales lever. We've been looking up here first in the budget that when we sell something, we've got to buy it first to sell it, or we buy it on credit, we sell it, and then we pay the supplier. So there is a thing here where if you can reduce your cost of sales by just a small percentage, you're going to increase your gross profit. Now, if you increase your gross profit, that you've still got to pay your expenses off it, but that's increasing your revenue at the top and increasing your gross profit there. So you're using 2 levers. You're increasing your sales and you're reducing your cost of sales. Now, the other part of working with the tenXcel system is bringing into play a 3rd lever. Now, most marketing people will just focus on sales because focusing on sales is easy. They say, look, set up a referral system, set up a loyalty program, advertise some more, advertise on Facebook. Like, there are some great people that help you with that revenue part. They're good at it. And if you haven't got a system to generate more leads and customers and prospects, of course you need work in that area. So I'm not saying discount working on sales, but remember that is only 1/3 of the equation. The other parts are the cost of sales, and the 3rd part is your expenses. And that's where the last part of tenXcel comes in. Because in the last part of tenXcel, what we do is we have something which is like a 3-page system. And in that system, what we do is we control the 3 main components that are going to change your business. And it's a central dashboard where you can look at your wages. So if you've got staff, you can see the total wage cost and you can see the individual wage cost. So you've got to go in and set up your staff in there once, one time only. And once you've done that, again, you can copy and paste so that you've got every month set to go. The other thing you can copy and paste is you can copy your whole cake, your whole annual budget straight into this system, which is our variable control system, our variable budgeting system. After you've copied your annual figures straight into there, 2 seconds, copy and paste. You've added your staff wages to this variable system. And then what you need to do is add your cost of sales to this system. So it's quite easy. It's copy and paste from here, it's copy and paste from there, and it's copy and paste from your wages each month. Now, once you've done that, all you have to do is into this system, enter your sales in the month. And what it's going to do straight away is give you a picture of your whole budgeting, your sales against your cost of sales and the sales with your expenses and also your labor costs. And so then it becomes easy to go, okay, I'm doing my daily management and I've got through here and I'm in day 21 of the month. And at day 21, I can see that I'm actually performing a little bit better than what my big picture cake says. I can still afford to have that person come to work to help me. Or on day 21 or 22 or something like that, you can see, oh, look, it's not as busy as I predicted. You can go into this system here, the variable system, and manipulate the wage costs, which is one thing. So you reduce that labor cost. And by doing it in that system there, you will see how to make profit in your business. So tenXcel encompasses a number of components. It encompasses an annual budgeting tool, which is really important. Now, most people can do that already, but it's a good way to start because it gives you a benchmark to measure yourself against. Then it breaks down your annual budget into a monthly daily operations system. And that daily operations system is the key tool. If you just use that, you'll improve your business leaps and bounds. But this works hand in hand with controlling this cash flow cycle that can cause so much stress to you. Once you sort out the cash flow cycle, then you can take time off because you are not worried about where you're going to pay for things because you can control where you're going to pay for things. Then, using the budgeting, the simple purchasing budget system, you're able to monitor what you're purchasing and spending in the business. And it's not difficult. It's not like an accounting program where you've got to have everything spot on. You can enter whole dollars in that. You get a bill in the post there and it's, $273.65. Just put $273 straight into this system. Instantly. That's how quick it is. And it's going to show you in whole dollars how much you've got left at the end of the day to spend. Put it into your variable budget system and you put the whole thing together, combining all these things, you activate all 3 levers that are going to drive your business to the next level. And what that does, it increases your revenue, it reduces your cost of sales, and it reduces your expenses. And that's vital to your success. Now, I'd like to share something with you, and this is just 3 simple tips that you can go out right now. You can do it right now. If you're watching this, you can do it tomorrow in your business, and just doing these things will make a huge improvement. Now, most marketing people would say, get more sales. That's a no-brainer. You can get more sales. But how can you get more sales? You can call up your customers. You can say, come and buy more. But I'm going to tell you a secret. The easiest way to improve revenue is, and this is the first big tip, and that is, I'll put it over here. So number 1, you're going to increase your prices. So tomorrow, if you're in business, tomorrow you are going to increase your prices. You're going to put them up at least 5%. Now, if you can't put them up 5%, if you think people are going to run to the hills and you're not going to be able to do it, put them up 1%. Just put them up. That is the most simple profit boosting tip I can give you right now. You don't have to spend anything more on marketing. You don't have to do anything else. Just put your prices up. If you're a restaurant, reprint the menu. Add some amounts there onto your menu. If you're in business and you're selling another product, change the prices in the computer system. That is push button simple to do, and it will definitely help with your profit. Now, the second tip that I've got for you for watching this today, and this, so first up, increasing prices focuses on the number one revenue lever. The second thing you can do involves cost of sales. Now, the easiest way to reduce your cost of sales is to find what you're buying from your suppliers and pick your biggest supplier. That's the first thing. You can do it with every supplier, but this is my tip for you tomorrow. If you're selling pizza and you're buying cheese off someone, the cheese supplier, you're going to ring them up and you're going to say this. Hi, it's David from XYZ Pizza. I want to get a better deal on cheese. Now, you might have to be a little bit more subtle than that. And what I normally suggest to people to do is you ring the sales representative that you know in that chain in these companies that you're buying from. And you say, look, I'm really thinking of doing more business with you. I want to improve our relationship. I would like to know what you can do to help me improve my business and help me buy more from you. And I think one way you could help me buy more from you would be if you gave me a small incentive, like a little, maybe a discount. Could you give me 5% off? Could you give me 2% off? Could you give me 10% off? You'd be surprised. When you ask, they may give it to you. Now, the other thing that you need to remember here is when you talk to those suppliers, it does not have to be, can you give me a discount? It could be something as simple as saying, can I get free delivery? And maybe your suppliers already do free delivery, but if they don't, asking that one question, if you've got 5 deliveries coming from one supplier in a month, and each of those deliveries is $20, there's $100 you just saved. Now, this is the other secret about this lever, the cost of sales lever. When you manipulate the revenue lever, what do? You improve your sales. You increase your sales. Well, when you increase your sales, you share that money with your suppliers, okay? When you work on the cost of sales lever, it's quite powerful because when you save on the cost of sales, for every dollar you save, that's 100 cents in your pocket. You haven't had to split that with anyone. When you increase sales, you split it. When you reduce cost of sales, it's 100% yours. So that's a real big tip. So you're going to reduce, I'm just going to put it here, you're going to remember. Sorry, bit of bad writing there. Reduce costs of sales. Okay, big profit boosting tip number 3. And this also works on this system because we're talking about using the tenXcel system to manage our business, which is going to give us the tools to manage it. But the way to make the 3 levers work together is to also pull the overheads lever. Now, the overheads lever are all these expenses down here. Things like your wages, things like your utilities, things like your bank charges, things like your motor vehicle expenses, stuff like that, travel. It's an expense. It's something that you pay for out of your gross profit. So we already had a look, sales, working on that, cost of sales. Well, now, here's a profit boosting tip to do with the 3rd lever, which is your overheads. And the simplest thing I'm going to say to you is get a discount on your overheads. Now, there's two things I can think of straight away that you can do, and it's easy. Tomorrow, you're going to call and get a discount. So I'm going to put here, the big tip is reduce overheads, right? So reduce overheads or expenses. But the tip for you is the overheads I'm suggesting you get reduced straight away is on your communications, right? That's a dead easy one. Call your telephone provider, ring the telephone provider, say, can you put me on a better plan? Can I get better internet? You know, if I bundle things, can I get a better deal? Or can I get a better deal on my telephone? Or if I'm thinking as well, can I get a better deal on my electricity? So those things like switching power supplier, switching communication supplier, straight away you're going to get a little saving. Now it may not be big, but I'll show you a little secret. Like within all of this, when you start to leverage all components, it has a really profound and compounding effect on your net profit at the end of the day. So reduce your overheads. There are other things that are in that overheads list that I could share with you, but I know you'll be able to look down your list, pick the easiest ones to contact, and tomorrow go out and do these three things. Increase your prices tomorrow. Try 5%. Less if you're worried, but try 5%. Reduce your cost of sales. Call up your 3 biggest suppliers and say, what can you do for me? I want to do more business with you. Use that. Thirdly, reduce your overheads. Call your communications provider, your utilities providers. See how you can reduce something on the expenses side. Because when you do all these things, it will have a huge effect on your business. So I developed tenXcel, and it's a really simple system to use. It's been built from the ground up by myself and a team of designers. You use it on your PC or your Mac, or it'll work on Linux as well if you really want to. It's brain dead simple. You'll go through like about, there's a bit of training, like 20 minutes, half an hour on each component that you fit together. And then you just plug in the numbers from your business. Now, once you've plugged your numbers into the annual budget, you'll print that out. You don't even print it out, you just look at it on screen and you'll see exactly where you think you'll be. After you've done that, you'll take it out and you'll do a daily operations system, and I'll explain step by step how to do it. It is really, really easy, but it's very, very powerful. After that, we'll deal with your stress, reducing your problems of where you're going to go down near to zero or not have the money to pay somebody. So that's going to reduce a lot of your stress. Then we're going to deal with how we control some of these cost of sales, some of this purchasing. You're going to fill in a purchasing budget, and you're going to learn about how to do that and some real hardcore tactics about how to save money actually. And then we deal with variables. Variables is tricky. It is an easy thing to do, but it's a complex thing to master. But if you master managing your variable expenses, you then have the keys to the kingdom, and your business will grow exponentially over the coming months. The minute you start doing these things, like I'll say it'll take you about 30 days to get the wheels turning. And after that, you'll start to see improvements. In my business, when I started doing this, and I'll give you, this is the trick with these small percentages. For every 1% in my business on my cost of sales, and we're going back about 15 years ago now, for every 1% on my cost of sales that I saved, that was $440 in my pocket each month. Now, from when I started using and developing tenXcel, in about 20 months, I had reduced my cost of sales by some of the negotiation tactics that I'm going to share with you inside the system. I reduced my cost of sales by 13%. So that was something like $6,500 after tax that just went straight in my pocket. Now, I bet you could do with several $1,000s more a month in your pocket, and that was just from cost of sales. So inside the system, I also give you as a bonus, I give you my cost reduction worksheet, which is something that you use when you're going to do this negotiation with suppliers. It gives you a broad understanding of how to get a better price. And we've got some hardcore tactics about how to get better deals out of people you do business with. I also give you a negotiation template, which allows you to work through things and helps you negotiate better. And that's been designed with the top guns of negotiators. So that negotiation template, that will save you a ton of money. It's worth as much as the whole of tenXcel itself. So if you're interested in learning more, when we hop back out of here, you'll be able to look at some of the other things that we do. But I really encourage you to grab the tenXcel system. And if you've got any questions about this, by all means, hit me up. Ask me the questions and I'd love to share my answers with you. So thanks for watching this part of the presentation. I'll chat to you shortly.